Ever SADC Solidarity Conference with the people of Saharawi later this morning. The two-day meeting was called to, among others, reaffirm the right of the people of Western Sahara to self-determination in line with the UN Charter on Human Rights. Our senior reporter Lehana Tsotetsi has been at the summit over the past couple of days. Well, yesterday, in fact. Let's cross to him now live. Hey, Lehana, what's the latest?
Hi, Blaine. Welcome once more again all to DERCO, which is the Department of International Affairs and Cooperation here in Pretoria. Yesterday, it was all about the opening and, of course, discussions centered around the Western Sahara issue, which is why the meeting is taking place. There were messages of support to the Saharawi people in that they should actually see self-determination become a reality. It's been long, and quite a number of speakers expressed concern that Morocco should pull out of Western Sahara and end the occupation. But with me now is the Minister of Defense, just to give us briefly other issues pertaining to the issue of Western Sahara and how the situation is going on now with the talks.
Thank you very much. I won't say much about the talks, but I would rather focus on what was discussed here yesterday. Firstly, we should commend SADC, the region itself. We should commend our heads of state for convening such a conference. It was long overdue. All of us, African National Congress, ZANU-PF, SWAPO, FRELIMO, all the liberation movements finally achieved what they were fighting for, because of solidarity, international support, very important element of work which we were doing. Even with us, you'll recall, as the ANC, we used to say there are 4 pillars of our struggle, and one of those was international mobilization. We are happy that finally the heads of state took this decision to call this conference, not only for SADC, even though it's convened by SADC, but actually invite the rest of the continent and even some of the countries which are affected by some of the strange policies of positions which are taken by the West against them. You must have seen that Cuba is here. You must have seen that Venezuela is here. So it's a very good conference. It's a very positive conference which gives hope to the people of Saharawi, but also gives hope to all of us that one day they will be allowed to have a referendum, because that's what the issue, amongst others, has been, that allow them to have a referendum and determine their future. Now, everybody who spoke here talked about, one, plundering of the resources of that country. That country is one of the rich countries, by the way. You have oil there, you have gas, you have quite a number. Now, there's plundering of those resources. There are countries which are exporting resources, mineral resources they do not have, because they are benefiting from resources which belong to the people of Saharawi. That's number one. Number two, people of Saharawi are calling for the release of political prisoners, prisoners who are fighting a legitimate cause. That's what they said in their statement. But thirdly, the people of Saharawi are saying they should be allowed to get their independence. And I think for all of us, South Africans, all of us in the continent actually, should always remember that for as long as the decolonialization process has not ended, has not been completed, we cannot rest. We should support those who are still colonized. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, just to touch on another issue which is not related to the Western Sahara, the situation that the South African Defence Force, or the role that the South African Defence Force is playing out there with humanitarian aid, especially in countries like Mozambique.
Thank you, Lehana. Yes, we are in Malawi in the first instance, but we are also in Mozambique. And I think we owe it to our High Commissioner in Malawi to thank her for her initiative, even before the government could reach out to the South African government about what was happening there. It was our High Commissioner Miss Mtinso, who actually knocked at the door and said, South Africa, please give a hand, there is a crisis here. And that is what the Commander-in-Chief then ordered us to do. We are now in Malawi. Yes, we're involved, but we need to also make the point that the people of Malawi were able to conduct their own search and rescue. All that we did there was to render whatever support necessary. We have teams of doctors. We've sent medication as well to Malawi. As for Mozambique, we have helicopters which are currently being used for rescue purposes. But we are not only working alone as the South African National Defence Force. You have other teams which we've found on the ground, such as SA Rescue. There's also now the Gift of the Givers, which also has been working very closely with us. So you have a collaboration, you have a partnership of three groupings, key groupings from South Africa who are working together in Mozambique. Yes, I think yesterday we delivered more medication because our doctors who are on site were actually calling on us to give more humanitarian support. It's not only us, there are other organizations, there are other countries which are in Mozambique, but what is important is that we take our responsibility seriously. The moment the order came that we should render a hand, we did exactly that. President came in, gave us the instruction, Chief of the Defence Force deployed his troops, and we now have people on the ground in Mozambique. That's the kind of partnership we have. That's the kind of role we play when we are called upon to do so. And the deployment of assets, of the South African assets to Mozambique is a very, very important and significant matter because it's not the first time. It has happened before. You'll recall that in 2000 or 2001, there was a time when a mother was saved who was giving birth on the tree. There too, it was the South African National Defence Force which actually helped that mother to deliver that child, and that child now is a big girl. So this is something which has been ongoing. In fact, every January, February, together with Mozambicans, we always anticipate that there will be flooding in the northern part of Mozambique, and we make resources available. But this time around, it seems it was worse than ever before. It's a cyclone, which was apparently, there was no prediction, there was no forecast on that.
Thank you, Minister. The Minister of Defence giving us a detailed report on what is happening and the role that South Africa is playing to assist in this devastation that has been caused by nature. And back to you in the studio.
Lehana, thank you very much indeed for your reporting. We will come back to you as soon as the event kicks off. We understand that President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the welcome address at the SADC Solidarity Conference with Western Sahara. Okay, we've got breaking news for you. We've been reporting, according to a reporter from Inside Court,